I recently had a fragrance friend tag me on a TikTok and ask the top 4 fragrances that I've been wearing lately. Of course, I did 6 because I couldn't choose 4. And for you guys, I'm actually going to do 10. So these are 10 fragrances that I just cannot stop reaching for here lately. Hello, my gorgeous ones. Welcome to Aleisha Budget Beauty. My name is Aleisha. Here on my channel, I love fragrance. I love all kinds of fragrance. I love niche, indie, artisanal, high-end, low-end, all the things. Middle Eastern, we just like to get it as affordably as possible here on this channel. And I also do some makeup shorts and a little bit of fashion. So if that sounds good to you, please subscribe, stick around, be a friend. Okay, guys, this is a little bit impromptu. Hence why I'm in this, my space that I was in for about 6 months. You guys have been here for a while, know that I film in here sometimes, and then my regular filming space, it's just situational. I'm not going to get all into that right now, but for today, it's because it's actually dark outside, and that is natural lighting that I film in front of the other window. So we're back in here today. And I did my TikTok for this, like I said in the intro, where I shared the 6. And then I thought, you know, I've actually been wearing more than just 6 too. There's other ones that I'd love to talk about. So I saved those for you guys because you guys are my ride or dies. You're the ones that watch the long form content, give really, really thoughtful comments. So you get better content sometimes over here. So, all right. But yes, there are 10 fragrances that I'm going to talk about. And they're all except maybe a couple are newer fragrances. So, you know, it's just human nature when you get something in brand new, like the shiny, you want to play with that and kind of put your old toys to the side sometimes. But then you also remember that you have some really good OGs as well. So I've been reaching for a few of those, but mainly these are newer fragrances. So let's go ahead and get started. I want to start, I think, with an Arshon Persia fragrance. I've shared Arshon Persia before. 3 other fragrances I've talked about, and this is actually Jason, his 4th fragrance, and it's a really, really cool one. It's also very, very niche. This is not necessarily going to be for everyone, but I think it is so brilliant and so cool and just like pushes the envelope, the edge of fragrance and what fragrance can create in our minds. And I think it's awesome. So here is the box. I'm going to show you the box first, and there's a reason for that. The fragrance is called Kun Asham. I hope I'm saying that right because I've been told that one little pronunciation wrong, it means something totally different. So I hope I'm saying this correctly. It translates to vampire, basically, bloodsucker, vampire in Persian. And the cover, if any of my horror fans out there, any of my especially like 80s horror fans know, you know. But if you don't know, I will tell you. This is inspired by The Lost Boys. There is a scene in The Lost Boys. It's a 1987 vampire movie that I happen to actually love so much. And there's a really, really cool train scene that kind of tests one of the main characters, and I don't want to give too much away, but the vampires are testing him basically, and they're hanging from the bottom of like a bridge, or trains going across. It's really, really cool. So also there's the Ferris wheel. You see that a lot in the movie. And in the movie The Lost Boys, it's pretty much all set at night for the most part. I mean, it's a vampire movie, but there are so many shots where the camera is just kind of like, you feel like you're flying with the camera. And it's trying to create that like feeling of vampires flying at night, and it will zoom over the water, and then you will see this kind of like the boardwalk, or like the little carnival setup looking, it's a boardwalk, but scene, and you have like the Ferris wheel, and you see these like bright lights on the strip of that, and then you're just flying over this water with like the moonlight hitting it, and it's a really, really cool cinematography element to the movie, right? So enter in Asham. I hope I'm saying it right. And this is such a cool fragrance that really evokes that exact scene I was just talking about. So, like I said, very niche. This is a smoky. There is actually a note in here. Oh, and you guys, I have the cool little tickets. He throws in like really neat details into the boxes and the packaging. So these are like basically like general admission tickets, but they're blood soaked, which is cool. And he's got the notes on here. It's Persian saffron pashmak. That is, I think, supposed to be like a Persian cotton candy. And then beef kubide, and that is like skewers of smoked meat. And then roasted pistachios, night ocean air, vampire's blood. So vampire's blood is, you know, like an imaginary note. So basically you have this like cotton candy, saffron, and then a meat note, and then those like roasted pistachio and the night ocean air. By goodness, if he does not completely nail this fragrance, and it's so weird, but it works. And to my nose, it works. And he actually recommended to wear this while I was watching the movie. And I was like, don't have to twist my arm because I love the movie. I sprayed this on. Also instructed, don't spray it on clothing because it will stain clothing. You can see the juice is pretty deep here. And I'm sitting there watching The Lost Boys and like sniffing like crazy. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like I smell... The first thing I get is something smoky. Like it smells like something is not burning, but cooking. It smells like something's cooking. The beef, I thought that might be, I was intrigued by that. I thought, oh, this is either going to go like really, really weird where it's not wearable, or like he's going to find a way. And of course, found a way. It doesn't necessarily smell like meat. It just smells like if you're outside in your backyard and someone is like cooking something on a grill, and you can kind of smell that in the air, but you can't smell exactly what they're cooking. Like you don't know if they're cooking steak, hamburger, sausage, whatever, chicken, but that scent, it's that. And then I was like, there's something kind of like sweet, like just in the background, like not sugary sweet necessarily, just ever so slightly sweet where it's cutting into that smokiness, where the smokiness isn't too harsh. So that has to be that saffron, that is that particular saffron that is a like their cotton candy version, Persian cotton candy. What's really, really cool is that ocean air, that like night ocean air. As I was watching the movie, I thought this is flying over that ocean. This smells like a nighttime fragrance. It smells dangerous. It smells mysterious. It smells dark, but there's that like, you know, sweet cotton candy that would be on the boardwalk selling, you know, all the nostalgia feels. And I feel like I'm literally flying over that ocean right now. Like he made me feel like a vampire. It is the coolest thing. Again, it's just, you have to be adventurous. I don't think it's like crazy, crazy, crazy weird, but this is for niche lovers. This is for people who, they want to smell something different. They want to smell unique. They want to smell something that they've never smelled before. They want to be put into that movie and feel like they are there, and a whole experience. And that is what Jason does so well with Arsham Persia. Each one of his fragrances, I'm like, you just took me and plucked me in a whole different world, and I just think that is so stinking cool. So if you are adventurous with your fragrance palette, if you love niche fragrance, if you love the idea of something really smoky, slightly sweet, ever so slightly nutty, because it's got that little bit of pistachio thing going on there, but like a dry nutty pistachio, not, the sweetness isn't coming from like a sweet pistachio that can be in other pistachio fragrances. And then that fresh ocean air. If you want to smell like a vampire and have a whole experience, I highly recommend this. It is so, 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 so cool. This is when fragrance makes me so excited. And I'm so lucky to be like a part of this world. So that is Kun Asham by Arsham Persia, otherwise known as a vampire fragrance. All right, another one that I have been wearing, and I'm kind of shocked I love this as much as I do. I have a short on this. This is Prada Paradigm. So they sent this over to me. I knew that they were sending a new fragrance, or like a fairly new fragrance, and I didn't know if it was going to be like what it was going to be. So it comes, and they definitely market this as like a men's fragrance, right? And traditionally, it is like a masculine fragrance traditionally, and what we've been taught to think and what we've been conditioned to think. Those of us who really love fragrance and who have dabbled all across the board kind of get tired of like the pushing of genders onto fragrance, because if you just go by that and you skip out and you're like, oh, I'm a woman, so I'm not going to touch that. That's a masculine fragrance. That's a men's fragrance. You might be missing out on something that you really love for yourself. And I love this so much. And it is traditionally like a more masculine fragrance, but it is just so fresh. And the best thing I can just say is it's Irish Spring. It is the Irish Spring soap in a bottle, but it has this, what I didn't get to really say in the short, because shorts are short. I didn't get to go into as much detail as I wanted. It has that burst of Irish Spring at the top, and you just spray and you're like, whoa, they just bottled Irish Spring. That's really cool. But as it sits, it's smooth. It's smooth, and it is so clean smelling, and it is like invigorating. It's almost like what a mint in your mouth would be as a fresh fragrance to your skin. Like it almost feels like it should be cooling in a way, but then it also kind of smells like it belongs in like the fall and winter time. But I think this would also work for spring and summer, because it's just like so cool and refreshing, but yet it has this almost mountainous, like green, or even like snowy peaked, but with like green below, like those type of like mountains that you can see where you're like, how's there snow on the top and there's green on the bottom? It has that sort of a feeling. So it kind of belongs also in like the cold months. I just think it's great. And it has, I know it has geranium, quite a bit of geranium, and musk, and maybe some amber, something like that in it. I think maybe it's pink pepper, but bottom line is it really, really is an Irish Spring fragrance. And I just keep reaching for it because I'm kind of addicted to it. I'll be kind of going about my day and just smelling, and I'm like, I've never smelled so fresh, so clean, like so fresh and so clean. That song needs to be playing around me when I'm wearing this. And it just kind of reminds me I'm alive, and it makes me excited. And yeah, I think it's great. Now my husband passed on it because he doesn't like soapy leaning scents. Anything that reminds him of soap, I'll have him smell something that I love, because I love like a soapy type of fragrance, and I'll have him smell it and he goes, it smells like soap. I'm like, exactly. Doesn't it smell good? And he's like, he doesn't want to smell like soap in his fragrance. Maybe eventually his scent journey will change, and he will, but for now, anything that's remotely soapy, he's like, leave it to the soap. I don't want like a spray on of that. And I happen to love it. So I thought I would pass this on to him initially, and he passed on it, and I'm keeping it, and I just keep wearing it, and I happen to love it. And somebody told me it didn't last that long on them, that they loved it. And I had just told someone the night before that this is such a powerhouse. It lasts forever on me. So maybe it's just my skin. Maybe it's because I also sprayed it on my clothing, but I smelled this like 10 hours later. So I love Prada Paradigm, and I'm surprised, but I love it. All right, let's move on to one that is more of like an intentional. I do love this fragrance, but this has been an intentional wear for me. So this is Mudo Worthy. The label is making it hard to see how much is in here, but I think I am a little bit more than halfway. I think maybe somewhere around there. And the reason why it's been intentional is I actually keep my travels by my bed. I not always had done that, but I moved them. I don't know, maybe like 9 months ago, because I realized I was really neglecting my travels. I just wanted to reach for my bottles. And then on the rare occasion that I would go out of town, I would take samples, so I at least get some use out of my samples, but I was neglecting my travels. So I moved them in these 2 little cartridges by my bed on the nightstand. And it's just my rule of thumb when I go to bed, I wear a travel to bed. So I can really use them. I even have the goal to like use some up. And this is the one that I've been grabbing lately. And I just love this fragrance. It is a really soft vanilla tea. But the tea is very, I cannot remember if it's like a chai tea. It's not like a bright green tea. It's not very herbal. It is very, very, very soft. And it's kind of sweet, and it feels very pillowy and like I'm on a cloud, which is a perfect fragrance to go to bed to. I've actually thought if I still love it when it's gone, I will get a full size of this. I've almost purchased a full size many times, and I kept telling myself, why are you going to do that when you have this travel? And the last travel I used up was God is a Woman by Ariana Grande. I was so sick of that fragrance. I like that fragrance, but I was so sick of it by the time I used it up. And I thought, okay, I don't want a full size of that because that's a fragrance I get sick of. And this so far, I'm not sick of it. So it might be a full size worthy for me, but that's why I've really been wearing it, is because it's intentional. Okay, let's go ahead and talk about this one. I'm going to grab this box because you will see. Okay. Fridays by Tab and Chance. So let me show you guys the box. Here's the box. I think I already threw away the boxes that these came in actually. So Tab and Chance, here they are. I honestly didn't know of them. I guess they are kind of like sort of celebrity status. Oh, here's the boxes. Yeah. Okay. The boxes, here's what they come in, and there's just so many cool details. Like when they are side by side, oh my gosh, you guys. Okay, when they're side by side, this spells Fridays right here. So it's like halfway done, so that when they put together, it says Fridays fully. It's like 2 halves make a whole, right? Which is cute. Them being this couple, so I was saying, I think they have a podcast, and then they came out their fragrance line. Look how cute these bottles are. They spoon. One is bigger than the other. That's the same amount of liquid. It's just designed differently. This is the Chance, the marketed towards men. Fridays by Chance. This is Fridays by Tab. Her name's Tabitha. And they spoon and they fit together like a little whole. Isn't that is so cute. That is so cute. I think that's adorable. So let me talk, this is the one that I've been wearing. Well, let me talk about them both though. The men's, I like this. I have not been wearing this because this is a case where a traditionally more masculine fragrance, I love the way this smells, but it's not one I want to wear myself personally. I have seen that some women really like this on themselves. This smells like a 90s cologne. It is like nostalgia. I've always, 90s cologne, probably because I was like in my hormone era. And like, that's my favorite still. When I smell a 90s style cologne, I'm like, hello, sir. I love it. So this is like a spice. This has tea in it. So does the next one, my love, right here. But this is like a spicy cardamom tea, warm amber. I think there's a grapefruit. Maybe, I can't remember if there's, I think there's vetiver, maybe something woody in here. And it kind of reminds me of walking into the men's Dillard's polo section, Ralph Lauren polo section, whenever I was like a teenager and in college. I would go to that section to buy shirts for like my brother, for birthdays, Christmas, whatever, boyfriends. And that had like a certain scent to that part of the department store. And that's what this reminds me of. I love it. It's just not really like my style on myself. But this one, Tab, oh my gosh. All right. If you're a fan of Killing Princess, if you're a fan of Remember Me by Javoy, you will love this. And it is similar. It is a really soft, fluffy tea fragrance with a little bit of sweetness, but this has orris. So orris and tea, 2 favorite notes, but those together, I'm already there. And it also has this cacao that like, and some caramel in the base. So it just, it's not overly sweet. I don't even think it's quite as sweet as Princess, but it just makes it really smooth. Like orris and the caramel is like silky smooth, uplifting like a cloud. If a cloud could be caramelized with that tea, so you got a little bit of that like herbal quality coming into play. It is beautifully blended. And then the cacao also kind of gives it this like an airiness, like a Whopper, you know, like the candy Whopper chocolate, how you bite into it and it's like airy. It has that feel to it. It is so stunning. I just keep wanting to wear it over and over again. I think it's beautifully done. Fantastic. Now, I got both of these in a set on TikTok Shop on sale. It was $100 for both. So 50 bucks a piece. And I think if it's still on sale, it's like 53 individually. So you can buy them separately. Otherwise, they're $100 about each. And they're still worth $100 to me. This is one that if I have so many fragrances that I don't know if I'll go through it. But if I only had a few, I would go through this and I would want to get a backup. I love it that much. Fantastic. Okay. Another one that I have been wearing and haven't had it for long is Clean Reserve's Whipped Cherry. So I think I just had a sample of this before. I don't think it was a jump from a travel to a full size without finishing a travel. But I kept spraying it in the past and I was like, you know, I kind of looked it over at first and I was like, this is actually a really good cherry that doesn't have the whole lost cherry feel. This is more of like a vanilla cherry. There's a pineapple note in here that I don't really get. There's something almost salty to this to me, like a salty whipped cream, cherry, vanilla, and with like this really light airiness. And I think that's coming from, there's almond blossom and apple blossom in here. So it's kind of this blossomy floral thing that doesn't smell overly floral. It's just kind of lifting things and making it light and airy and easy and breezy, but it's still really cozy at the same time. So I've been loving it. I actually wore it yesterday to my son's baseball tournament. It was freezing. It was like 40 degrees and rain. And I had this layered with something. Oh, Vanilla Azure by Sphinx. So that's kind of more of like a incensey vanilla. So that mixed in with this and I was in heaven. So I've been really enjoying this. I'm kind of on the Clean Reserve train where I used to kind of think they were like, I actually like a lot of their fragrances. Radiant Nectar and Skin, and this one I really like. Okay, let's move on to this. This is a major love. This was a blind buy. This is Memo Paris's Kedu, and I think I have 5 Memo Paris now. Started out with Marfa. Love that one. I've sampled a ton of them, and I somehow missed that they had a couple of tea fragrances a while back. I think I have them all now. But this one, this is a tea and sesame fragrance. I am so addicted. There is something about that slight little toasty sesame with that cozy, bright tea. And there's something like warm in the base. I don't know if it's amber. I'm not sure. Maybe it's cedar in the base of this, where it is so addictive to me. It is one of my favorite tea fragrances now. I think it is so good. And that sesame really kind of separates it. I am guilty of having a lot of tea fragrances that smell similar because that's just my favorite category. And it doesn't even really bother me that I have so many that smell alike. But when I got this in, I was like, ooh, that has something different. And it's that sesame. So I think it's gorgeous, stunning. Another one that, I mean, I don't want to be without that fragrance ever in my life. I love it that much. Likewise, another tea fragrance is Rhone's Porcelain Pulse. This is another one that's fairly new that I just have been like, I want to grab that again today because it's tea. Now, this one has some unique notes in it, like carrot and rhubarb. And it's funny because rhubarb and I can like I don't know, sometimes it's too scratchy for me. Sometimes it can be like really, really vegetal. And then sometimes I actually like it, and it can add like a little bit of brightness. And then carrot I almost always like, and it can sometimes go like root vegetable, or it can go just add a little bit of sweetness. And I think that the rhubarb and the carrot in here really balance each other nicely. So the rhubarb doesn't stand out too much because I think the carrot kind of comes in and like sweetens that little bitter edge, and then vice versa. This doesn't go like too sweet carrot because the rhubarb's cutting into it, and it's very like warm with the amber and then that bright, like beautiful tea in here. And it's cozy. Again, it's like bright. It makes me happy. I love tea fragrances. What can I say? So definitely been reaching for that. Now, this is a newer fragrance to my collection as well. This is Suede Peach by Lake and Sky. And Lake and Sky, sometimes with certain brands, I just kind of start buying their travels, and then I feel like I can't buy their full sizes, and I only have to buy their travels. Brown Girl Jane is one of those. I have like 7 or 8 travels. And Lake and Sky, I think this is my 4th travel of theirs. And this is my favorite fragrance of theirs. I think it is so good. This is a true, beautiful, realistic smelling peach. Now, it has some similar notes to Peach's Revenge by Sarah Baker. And then there's been a ton of dupes out there of that fragrance lately, to the point where I'm almost like, you guys are going to ruin it because there's too many dupes coming out. So that has cardamom. So does this, but they do not smell the same to me. This is lacking like this kind of slightly sour quality to the Sarah Baker and the Sarah Baker dupes out there. This smells more like the peach skin, and it's very like suede like, and I mean it's called Suede Peach, and that's what it smells like, is a real photorealistic ripe peach, but not a juicy peach. It's more of just like it's not an unripened skin. It's a ripened skin, but it's the skin, not like the drippy juice. And it is classy and elegant, and it is just very photorealistic. And I think a lot of people have been looking for that peach like that. So it doesn't go into all the like mumbo jumbo of like adding in like all these spices and all that. It's just pretty straightforward, a smooth, suedey, velvety peach fragrance. All right, so this is not a new one. I know I've been new, but this has been in my collection for a while. This is Elysian's Charmante. And this is just one that I will go back to as a like, let me go back to that and just grab it because I love it so much. It's one of my favorites. This is a pear, amber, champagne, soft woods, a little bit of floral. It's just a beautifully blended fragrance, and I love how this dries down so much. It's one of those addictive fragrances for me. It's also one that it really does kind of change as it sits on the skin or sits on the clothing. So I will spray it and I will love it, and then I'll hang something back up that had it sprayed on, like my denim jacket that I sprayed this on not too long ago. Hung it up in the closet, and I kept walking through the closet thinking, oh my gosh, what smells so good in here. And then when I pulled it out, the jacket, for a minute I forgot this is what I sprayed, and I was like, what? But what is that? I don't remember. It smells so good. And then, oh yes, it's Charmante. It just dries down a little bit differently than it opens, and I'm just so addicted to the dry down of this. It is flirty. This was a date night fragrance, and it's so appropriate for that. It's still great for daytime too, but something is so flirty and seductive and like romantic, and just, oh, like if I were a guy or a girl that wanted me, I would be like, girl, like that's the one. Like it kind of, I don't know. I just think it's so pretty, and maybe it just kind of puts me in the mood. I don't know, but I love it. It's one that I go back to, and here lately for like the date night. And then there was another thing that we went out and did. I was like, let me grab that one again because I love how it makes me feel. Okay, last one that I've been reaching for because it's fairly new to my collection as well is Harlem Perfume Co.'s Langston. Now, this is one I went back and forth in my mind of like, do I get this or not? Because I had the sample, I really liked it, but it just reminded me so much of Angel Share. And how many times have we been bringing up Angel Share lately? And ultimately I decided to get it. I probably didn't need it because I do have so many Angel Share-like fragrances, but I think it does it better. I just think it does it better. Calle Ocho by Fulton & Rourke, I think that fragrance is done a little bit better than Angel Share as well. And this has the apple, I know there's I can't remember if it's rum or whiskey. It has a liquor note in it. I think a little bit of cinnamon, but then it has this cacao and just kind of smooths things out, and it's just more refined. It doesn't have that sort of little bit of medicinal scent that Angel Share has. It doesn't have like the sharpness. It's just very, very smooth and elegant. And I've been just kind of spraying this on in the evening, and it just kind of makes me feel cozy. It makes me feel serene. One of those you just walk around going like, I smell really, really good. It's just one of those for me. So if you were if you wanted that style of fragrance and you don't already have it, I would recommend this over Angel Share actually. So that is Langston by Harlem Perfume Co. And those are the 10 fragrances I have just been loving and like reaching for lately a lot. Let me know yours in the comments. I'd be curious to hear. I thank you so much for watching. And as always, have fun shopping, budget shopping, and smelling fabulous. Bye.